There's a moment after a breakup that no one really prepares you for. It's not the goodbye. It's not even the heartbreak. It's the silence that comes after, the space where they used to exist, the habits you built around them, the comfort of knowing someone was always there, and now they're not. Letting go isn't just about moving on from them. It's about releasing the version of yourself that was attached to them. It's about shedding the life you thought you'd have so you can make space for the life that's meant for you. You see, we often believe that healing from a breakup means replacing the person, getting under someone new, distracting ourselves, filling our calendar. But none of that works. Not really, because the real healing doesn't happen through noise. It happens in the quiet, when you're alone with your thoughts, with the pain, with the truth. And here's the truth. You gave your heart. You tried. You invested. But now it's time to stop trying to reopen a door that's already closed. It didn't close because you won enough. It closed because something in that chapter was finished, and no amount of rereading will change the ending. Letting go is a decision. It's not a one-time thing. It's a choice you'll have to make again and again. Every time you check your phone, hoping to see their name. Every time your memory plays the highlights on loop. Every time you imagine what could have been, if things had just been a little different. Letting go is choosing you. It's choosing peace over chaos. It's choosing reality over fantasy. It's choosing to build a future without needing their approval or apology. You may not feel strong right now, but strength isn't about pretending you're okay. It's about sitting with the pain and saying, I'm still moving forward. It's about waking up tomorrow with tears in your eyes, but showing up for your life anyway. This breakup, it doesn't define you. It's not your story. It's a chapter. A powerful, painful, and necessary chapter. One that will teach you more about your worth, your standards, and your resilience than anything else ever could. So no, you don't have to forget them overnight. You don't have to stop loving what was. But you do have to stop waiting for them to come back and fix what's broken. That's your job now. Because one day you'll look back and realize the pain that once consumed you was actually your beginning, not your end. And when that day comes, you'll be grateful you didn't run from the healing. You'll be proud that you faced it. Let them go. Let you return. And start again, not because you weren't enough for them, but because you finally realized they were never enough for the future you're meant to build. One, letting go is about releasing a version of yourself. When we go through a breakup, we often think the hardest part is losing the other person. But more often than not, the real grief is losing the version of yourself that existed with them. That version of you that smiled when they texted. That person who saw the future through the lens of we, not me. That version of you that felt safe because you believed love would stay. But here's what most people never talk about. Breakups are not just about letting someone else go. They're about releasing yourself. Releasing the identity you created in that relationship. Releasing the comfort zone. Releasing the story you told yourself about what your life was going to look like. And yes, that hurts. It's supposed to. Change that matters always does. You spent time building a life around a connection, and now that connection is gone, but you're still here carrying the weight of a version of you that no longer fits. That's why it feels heavy. That's why it's hard to breathe some days, because you're trying to live in a future with a mindset that belongs in the past. You're not grieving just a person. You're grieving the shared dreams, the routines, the good morning texts, the dinners, the inside jokes. You're grieving a part of you that only existed with them. But here's the breakthrough. The person you were with them is not the peak version of you. There's a stronger you that can only emerge in their absence. There's a wiser you that only pain can teach. There's a braver you waiting on the other side of this heartbreak. Letting go doesn't mean pretending it didn't matter. It means deciding it doesn't control your future. It means saying, I love deeply, and now I choose to love myself even deeper. It's choosing to be loyal to the life that's calling you forward, not the one that's holding you back. And if you can sit in the discomfort of this moment, if you can feel the grief and still choose to show up for yourself, then you're not just letting go of someone, you're reclaiming who you are becoming. So today, let go of the version of you that clung to what was. Let go of the almosts and the what ifs. Let go of the idea that your best days are behind you, because they're not. They're ahead of you, waiting for the version of you that's ready to meet them. 2. Healing doesn't happen through distractions. When a relationship ends, our instinct is to run, to outrun the pain, to fill the silence, to do whatever it takes to not feel the heartbreak echoing in the space they used to occupy. We distract ourselves, nights out, new people, new hobbies, overworking, oversleeping, overeating, overthinking, anything but facing what's actually happening inside of us. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You can't heal what you won't look at. Distraction might numb the pain for a while, but it doesn't remove it. It just delays it. And the longer you delay your healing, the deeper the wound sets in. The things we avoid don't go away. They quietly shape us from the inside out. You think you're moving on when you jump into a rebound, but all you're doing is avoiding. You think staying busy will erase them from your mind, but they show up anyway in your quiet moments, in your dreams, in that one song you can't listen to anymore. That's why the people who seem the strongest after a breakup sometimes crash the hardest, because they never gave themselves permission to feel. And feeling is the gateway to healing. You can't walk through the fire if you're pretending it's not there. Instead of distraction, choose presence. Instead of numbing, choose honesty. Instead of escaping, choose sitting still long enough to understand what this pain is trying to teach you. The end of a relationship is not just something to get over, it's something to grow through. And that growth only happens when you ask the hard questions. What did I lose when I lost them? What did I tolerate that I shouldn't have? What do I now know about what I truly want? It's in the reflection that wisdom is born. It's in the stillness that clarity comes. And it's in the solitude that strength is built. So yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, there will be nights when the silence feels deafening. But that silence, that's where your healing begins. That's where you meet yourself again. That's where you discover that you are whole, even without the one who once made you feel complete. You don't need to fill the void. They were never your missing piece. You were never broken. You were just learning. And now it's time to graduate from that lesson. Choose to feel the ache, sit in the discomfort, let the tears come, and in doing so, you will slowly, gently, powerfully move from surviving to thriving. Because the fastest way to heal is to stop running from what's real. 3. Closure is a gift you give yourself. Let's talk about one of the most misunderstood words in the healing process, closure. Most people think closure is something that comes from the other person. That if they just had one more conversation, one more answer, one more explanation, then they could finally let go. But here's the truth you need to hold on to right now. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself. If you're waiting for the apology you never got, you may be waiting forever. If you're hoping they'll wake up and suddenly see your worth, you're handing over your peace to someone who's already shown they don't know how to protect it. If you're stuck in the cycle of checking their social media, hoping for a sign they miss you, what you're really doing is staying emotionally tied to someone who has already moved on. Closure is not about hearing the right thing from them. It's about saying the right thing to yourself. It's about deciding, even if I never get the clarity I wanted from them, I will create the peace I deserve for myself. You see, the danger of waiting for closure is that it becomes a prison. You stay locked in the story, unable to turn the page, because you're still hoping the last chapter will change, but it won't. What happened, happened. It wasn't fair, it wasn't what you deserved, but it is what you must now release. Closure happens the moment you accept that your healing is no longer dependent on their participation. It happens the moment you stop asking why they did what they did and start asking what you can learn from it. It happens when you choose to forgive, not because they asked for it, but because your heart deserves freedom more than it deserves to carry resentment. Here's the powerful shift. Stop thinking you need them to close the door. That door, it's yours, and it closes when you decide to stop standing in the threshold. You get to choose when it's time to walk forward. You're not crazy for wanting answers, but you'll drive yourself crazy if you make your healing dependent on getting them. The peace you're craving comes from one place only, your decision to stop giving someone else control over your emotional future. So breathe deep, sit with the ache, then speak the truth over your own heart. I release what I cannot change. I forgive who I cannot control. I choose myself now. Because closure isn't found in their final words. It's found in your first step forward. 4. You don't need to feel ready to start healing. One of the greatest myths we carry after a breakup or any emotional loss is this idea that we need to feel ready to move on before we can start. That healing has to begin when our heart feels stronger, when our mind feels clearer, or when the pain has lessened. But here's the truth. Healing starts long before you feel ready for it. Most of us wait. We wait for the right moment, the right mood, the day we wake up and don't think about them. But that day doesn't magically arrive. It's not a gift that falls into your lap. It's a decision you make. You don't heal because time passes. You heal because you choose to use time differently. There will never be a perfect day to take your power back. There will never be a moment when the heartbreak feels easy to let go of. Starting feels awkward. It feels forced. It feels wrong at first because pain has become a part of your routine. But just because something feels unfamiliar doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means you're stepping into a new version of yourself. And that version, that stronger, wiser, freer version of you, they're waiting on the other side of your first step. Start before you're ready. Start while you're still hurting. Start while you're still remembering the good moments and questioning what went wrong. Because starting isn't about being over it. It's about deciding that you're no longer going to let your pain define your pace. And don't underestimate the power of small beginnings. Healing doesn't begin with a grand epiphany. It begins with getting out of bed when you don't want to, with going on that walk, with putting down your phone instead of texting them, with choosing not to check their page, with speaking kindly to yourself, even when your heart is in pieces. Every tiny step is a vote for your future. Every uncomfortable action is a reminder that you are not stuck. You're just beginning. You might not feel strong enough right now. That's okay. The strength comes through the process, not before it. You will grow into your strength by choosing to move, even when it's messy, even when it's slow, even when your heart whispers, "I'm not ready." Here's the most powerful truth. Readiness is not a feeling. It's a commitment. It's the moment you stop waiting to feel different and start doing things differently. So don't wait for the day the pain disappears. Don't wait for the memory to fade. Start now, even if all you can do today is breathe. Show up for yourself anyway. Because healing doesn't ask you to be ready, it asks you to begin. 5, your self-worth was never measured by their love. One of the most devastating side effects of a breakup is the way it quietly rewrites the way we see ourselves. We start asking the wrong questions. Was I not enough? What did I do wrong? Why couldn't they love me the way I loved them? But those questions don't reveal the truth. They reveal your pain. And if you're not careful, pain will start telling you lies. Lies like you were the problem, or you'll never find that kind of love again, or you must be broken. Let me say this clearly. Your value did not decrease just because someone couldn't see it. Their inability to love you properly says nothing about your worth. It only speaks to their capacity. You see, people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. And if someone left you feeling like you had to work harder to earn love, that wasn't love, that was emotional starvation. And you deserve so much more than crumbs. Your worth is not determined by who stays or who leaves. Your worth is not up for negotiation based on someone else's ability to appreciate it. The mistake is in ever believing it was their approval that made you valuable in the first place. You were enough before they came. You are enough now that they're gone. And you'll be enough always, because worth is not earned, it's owned. If you don't claim your self-worth, you'll chase it in every relationship you enter. You'll seek validation through attention, compromise yourself just to be chosen, and shrink your needs just to feel safe. But you are not here to be tolerated. You are here to be loved fully. Let this moment in your life be the turning point where you stop attaching your value to how someone else treated you and start attaching it to how you choose to treat yourself. Choose to believe that your heart is not too much, that your love was not wasted, that the right person will never make you feel like you have to tone down who you are just to be loved. Because true self-worth isn't loud. It's quiet. It's the calm, unwavering knowing that even in heartbreak, you still matter. This pain, it's temporary. But the lesson it teaches, the unshakable truth that you never needed their validation to be worthy. That is what lasts. That is what frees you. You are not defined by your rejection. You are not less because they left. You are not broken, you're becoming. And once you realize that your value has never been up for debate, you stop chasing people who can't see it and start attracting the ones who can. 6, the future you deserve begins with the choices you make. Now, it's easy to believe that time will just fix everything. That if we wait long enough, if we distract ourselves enough, if we bury the pain deep enough, one day we'll wake up healed. But healing is not passive. The life you want, especially the one you deserve after heartbreak, isn't something you stumble into, it's something you build. And it starts with the choices you make right now. The mistake most people make after a breakup is believing that their future is on pause. They think, I'll start focusing on me once I feel better, or I'll get serious about my goals after I've healed. But healing doesn't come before the work, it comes through it. Your future begins not when the pain fades, but when you decide to start moving anyway. Every day you have a choice. You can either keep revisiting the story of who hurt you, what you lost, how unfair it was, or you can start writing the story of who you are becoming. You can wake up and choose to give your energy to your purpose instead of your past. You can choose to invest in friendships that pour into you, instead of chasing the attention of someone who already showed you they're not meant to stay. You can choose habits that make you proud of yourself, instead of clinging to patterns that keep you stuck in survival mode. And no, you don't have to do it all at once. Healing isn't about giant leaps, it's about consistent, intentional steps. Choosing to eat well because your body deserves care. Choosing to read because your mind deserves stimulation. Choosing to create, move, grow because your future deserves momentum. The truth is, the version of you that's thriving a year from now, they don't just happen by accident. They're shaped by the person you choose to be today. So take that power back, stop waiting for the past to change, and start changing the future. Start treating yourself like someone who matters, not because someone else finally sees your worth, but because you do. You're not defined by the breakup. You're defined by what you choose to do next, by how you rise, by how you rebuild, by how you learn to love yourself again, not as a reaction to pain, but as a foundation for your peace. The chapter with them is over. That part of the story has been written, but the pages ahead, they're blank, and you hold the pen. Start writing a story where you are the hero, a story where the past taught you but didn't trap you, a story where love begins with you. Because the future you dream of, the peace, the purpose, the partner who sees your value without being reminded begins not later but now.